Hello everyone! In this video, we are going to learn about fractions. So let's get started, shall we? First, let's talk about what is a fraction. Fraction is an equal part of a whole object or an equal part of a set of objects. Fractions are also the result of a division of an object into two or more equal parts. Fractions are usually written in the form of a number above and a number below the other number with a line separating the two numbers. The number on the top is called the numerator and the number on the bottom is called the denominator. Now, what does numerator and denominator mean? Well, the numerator is a number that represents the number of equal parts which have been taken from a whole. And the denominator is a number that indicates the total number of division in a whole. Here is an example so it is easier to understand fraction better. So, Andy and Woody had a packet of Sugus candy. The two shared that pack of candy until there is only one candy left. They both decided to share that candy by splitting the candy into two equal parts. From that story, a piece of candy got split into two equal parts. Each part is a fraction of the candy. To know the value of that fraction, for the numerator, simply count the number of equal parts which have been taken from a whole, which is 1. And for the denominator, we count the total number of division in a whole, which is 2. So the value of this fraction is 1/2. Here is another example. Look at this shape. The amount of parts that this shape has is 6 parts. Each part is 1/6 of the shape. 2 out of 6 parts are shaded. So the fraction of the shaded part is 2/6. Next, let's talk about adding fractions. To add 2 or more fractions, we simply have to sum the numerators of the fractions. But to do that, we have to make sure that the denominators of fractions that we want to add is the same as the other fractions denominator. If the denominators aren't the same, then we cannot add the numerator of those fractions. Now here is an example. Ronnie broke half of a cake. When Ronnie's mother got home, she also has broke half of the same cake that Ronnie broke. How many cakes does Ronnie's family have right now? From that question, we know that Ronnie broke half of a cake, then Ronnie's mother broke another half of a cake. To know how many cakes that Ronnie's family has, we have to add those cakes, which is a half cake plus a half cake equals to one whole cake. To make it easier, the question asks us to find the solution for 1/2 or a half plus 1/2. Now, we see that the denominators of these two fractions are the same. That's why we can add the numerators of these fractions. So, the solution is 1 plus 1/2 equals to 2/2 equals to 1, because fraction is a division problem and 2 divided by 2 is 1. That's why 2/2 is equal to 1. Now for another example, find the solution for 21/34 plus 9/34. To solve it, look at the fractions. The denominators of the two fractions are the same, which is 34. And because of that, we can simply just add the numerators. So it's 21 plus 9/34 equals to 30/34, and that's the answer. Next, let's talk about subtracting fractions. Subtracting a fraction is more or less the same as adding a fraction. which we simply have to subtract the numerators with a condition that the denominators have to be the same. For example, Rudy has an apple. He shared half of that apple to Budi. How many apples that Rudy has now? From that question, Rudy has an apple, then he gave half of it to Budi, which means at first he has one apple or 2/2 of an apple, then he lost half of it or 1/2 of it because he gave it to Budi. To find the solution, we have to subtract the part that he lost from the amount that he has at first. Hence, 1 apple minus half of an apple equals to half of an apple. To make it simple, it's 1 minus 1/2 or half. Now we know that 1 can be made into 2/2, which is why the problem can be made into 2 minus 1/2 equals to 1/2. Another example, find the solution for 27/30 minus 19/30. Look at these fractions. The denominators, which is 30, are the same. That's why we can simply subtract the numerators. So it's 27 minus 19/30 equals to 8/30, and that's the answer. That's all for this video. Remember to follow the instructions that have been given. Thank you for watching and see you next time.